Dr. Ramana Rao, thank you so much, sir, for first of all agreeing to take this small chit chat with me. This is a program that I call Mind Talks. And the reason why we named it Mind Talks is so that I can get into the mind of leaders. Leaders, tall leaders, and extra tall leaders like Dr. Ramana Rao. So you're in that higher echelons of leaders that we're talking to. So I'm at a disadvantage here, Doc. So please forgive me if I make any small blunders and slurs here and there. But overall, Doc, for those who don't know you, Dr. Ramana, I'm thinking that's a redundant question. It's like if you don't know Amitabh Bachchan, you don't know Dr. Ramana Rao. It's in the same league, more or less. So physician to chief ministers, to superstars, to the who's who in the city of Bangalore, but also I'm sure a lot of Indians consult you at a very high level. So doctor, just to understand you, where did you come from? Where are you going? In your own words, Doc, would you like to share something about yourself?
It's always difficult. If you ask me a question like talk about yourself, that puts us in a very fragile ground. Well, I am a Bangalorean. I was born in Hyderabad in Andhra Pradesh, and I was brought up. I spent all my childhood in the most backward area of Karnataka. Backward those days, it's called Vadrahatti. It is back of beyond. My father used to work as a chief engineer in the construction project of Tungabhadra Dam in 1950s. So we were deep in the forest. That's where my childhood began. And we were surrounded by laborers because the project consisted only laborers. So people used to be from all communities. There would be people who speak Hindi, Urdu, and Christians, and there was hardly any difference. There was such harmony and such brotherliness among everybody. We all grew up in that atmosphere.
Awesome. So when did you realize, Doc, that you could be one of the most visible people in the country and one of the most popular?
Well, I still didn't visualize that. What I set out, even as a child, the only thing I ever wanted was to reduce the suffering of all these poor people living with me. I used to play with the children, with all of them. And I used to see so much of suffering. These poor people who are working in the building project with the dynamites and stone blasting, digging, so many used to get hurt and so many wouldn't survive. And so many of my friends' parents wouldn't be there when I asked them the next day, where is so-and-so? So I used to always ask as a child, both my parents, isn't there something we can do to reduce the suffering of these people? Then those days, when I was 7, 8 years, my parents would tell me virtually every time I asked this question, you need to become a doctor to serve these people. Only then you can directly help these poor people and reduce their suffering. That's how the seed was planted in my mind those days that I should become a doctor.
Wow, and we are so grateful for that seed being planted, Doc, because we have one of the best doctors in the country. Not only just a doctor, a philanthropist of a different magnitude. Doc, once when we were having a chit chat, I remember you telling me every weekend is spent doing social work. Okay, doctor, so my question to you is, now you've done so much. Now you've become a superstar doctor. What really got you to that understanding that, I could be, where it's at, and I could make a bigger impact in society? Oh, you're doing your super work. The whole family is involved. I know your 2 sons go and do social work with you. How does a man have such a big heart? Can you just explain some of that to us?
It's such a nice thing that you get to be what you want. The only thing I ever wanted from 6 years on was to be a doctor.
Right.
And was to be a doctor to treat the poor. And the only reason I want to treat the poor because there was so much suffering all around me. And with these thoughts of becoming a doctor, right from that young age, I was very focused onto getting into a medical college. Whatever I did, whatever I learned before the medical college was how nice it would be. And I was waiting to graduate. That's how when I was 16 years, I entered the medical college. And with this sole intention. And as things went on, even as a student, I would take my bike and go in interior into villages to give cholera injections, because those days cholera was rampant. So jaundice was rampant, gastroenteritis was rampant. So I would go to the corporation, take a signature, take the vaccine, and go into the villages, collect 2 or 3 more friends, and we used to inoculate the poorer population who knew nothing about gastroenteritis or cholera.
Right.
That's how the work in the rural areas began. As a medical student, I must have been about 18 years when I used to go every time. And this stuck on. This stuck a chord. There was so much to do in the rural areas in India. And if one person can do so much to so many villages, I always would think how nice it will be if many people join me in doing this kind of work.
You're right.
So I was waiting to get that degree, MBBS. And the day I passed my MBBS, the very next day, my father inaugurated my free clinic.
Wow.
This is about 35. It's easy to remember because you just passed and you started your passion. I wouldn't call it work, it was your passion. So the village clinic was inaugurated on 15th August 1974 in the rural setup, which is where I work on every weekend. You might wonder why weekend, what about the other days? Other days are spent to earn my livelihood, to take care of my family, my personal commitment. But the weekend was always reserved for this work, which kept on growing. And we used to see about 8 to 10 patients in this rural clinic, and it went on multiplying as the time went. 5 became 10, then the day came and became 50. Then I was waiting for the day when it would become 100 patients. Yes, that also came. It was an amazing, satisfying experience to treat 100 patients every camp. It grew to reach a level of 500. And that was phenomenal for me in my life. If at all I ever wanted to achieve anything, was to dream of treating 1,000 patients. So 100 was achieved. The benchmark was raised to 500 patients, and then it was further raised to 1,000. I had to wait quite a few years to reach the 1,000 mark. It was a fantastic experience. And 1,000, when we reached, I felt there was something more to be done because there were so many patients. They kept on coming. And then my benchmark was to reach 1 million patients free. Exactly. It took so many years. I never looked back. We kept on persisting, doing our work with same compassion, same love, with the same determination. And we touched the 1 million mark. That day was a very, very landmark day for me. I share with joy and pride that we, or this education, could be used to treat so many of these people who would have gone suffering and with no medical aid. And then our target was 2 million. And it was another journey, a long journey
2
of
million also.
wait. We crossed 2 million mark in our village clinic. It's something which I'm very proud to tell you. Again, this goes back to the same thought. I always wish same work. It's so simple. My work is not complicated. It's nothing big like heart surgery or heart transplant involving a lot of equipment, setup and infrastructure. Village clinic needs no infrastructure. It only needs your heart to be there and the passion to serve these poor people. And that's how we've been managing. I'm so fortunate that Hema, my wife, has always been with me from the past now almost 40 plus years in the service of this village clinic. And I'm blessed to have 2 sons. Both of them are doctors. Dr. Charit is a DM cardiology. They were all born in the village clinic, so they know what service is. They all grew up with the thought that they should take up to medicine so they can serve these people and get the blessings. Do you know, Ayan, when these poor people bless you and treat you with so much respect and they give you virtually everything they have, and it's a fantastic feeling. You know, what I'm doing is so little. but what they give me back is enormous. It will fill your heart with joy. And no amount of wealth, money, or any things in this earth can equal that kind of feeling. So every Sunday, all of us, now both my sons help me, both my daughter-in-laws help me, and my wife is always there. It's like a family. And we come back more fulfilled, more satisfied. But we go back every Sunday to get more of this goodwill, to get more of this love and more of this blessings.
Such a nice thing to just hear this, doc. And I'm really wondering, so many doctors, but we're running after things like wealth and riches and all sorts of things, fame, fortune. Now that brings me to another question, doc. What made you stay back in India? I mean, a person with your kind of capabilities, you could have gone anywhere in the world, done any number of degrees. What made you stay back in India?
See, there is, no, as I told you, since my childhood, in India, in every village in India, there is so much of illness, so much of poverty, so much of dearth for medical men and for people they can't afford it. You go to any village, even today, after so many years of independence, you meet any village, last time, is there a doctor to take care of you? Answer is no. And we have 7 lakh villages in India. If India has to prosper, these 7 lakh villages must prosper. And one of the basic needs is medical need. It is this need that kept me back to serve my people. I couldn't leave them and go away. What is the use of an education if you cannot put it to use to serve the society, to serve the needy? The usefulness of the education grows. The more you spread it, the more better that education is, the stronger it is.
Doc,
wealth is a very simple, wealth is a very small, minuscule, which is, I think, a byproduct. And any education will get you wealth, but they cannot get you. You can't be going after name. And you want to get fame, you need to do service. Service where it is needed. Every profession has its opportunities, but it is medical profession. It is doctors who get the maximum opportunities to serve.
To serve. And I really wish more people understood that word. But doc, see, one hand, it's very easy for you to say this because you have reached a certain level, which most people, even if they had to make plans with 10 people guiding them, they might not have reached. So somewhere you are blessed. Maybe it's your good heart, maybe it's your blessings of parents, maybe so many things. But you have treated chief ministers. I know superstars like Dr. Rajkumar and all that. How does it make you feel? I mean, when their life is in your hands, and can you explain some of that?
It's a fantastic experience. I have had the privilege of treating the biggest of the big people in Karnataka. I live and practice in Bangalore. And it's a purely blessing, I would say, that you get to treat such people. I would never miss an opportunity to take care of these people. I used to give them, I still give them a lot of importance because their time is very valuable and their work is so precious. They can help thousands and lakhs of, take for instance, any of our chief ministers. Every file they sign, every second they do a good job, they do a good thing. They are helping thousands and thousands of people who need their help. If you take a most successful hero or a heroine, what they do on screen can change the lives and thought process of millions of people. Compared to that, what I would do is sacrifice 1 minute or 5 minutes of my time and to take care of them with these thoughts in mind. I set about taking care of all these VVIPs. They are VVIPs because they have something very special. They have a quality which is very special. It's up to you to, we are very close to them to absorb these qualities. From each of the greatest of the great, I was able to absorb their great qualities.
Wow. Wow, outstanding.
And
Outstanding. So, where I want to get into your mind now. This is something which I want to understand from you from a personal angle. You have the life of somebody who's a superstar, who is a great guy. For instance, like somebody like Dr. Rajkumar. How, I mean, doesn't that cause pressure on you as a doctor? I mean, one small slip somewhere, something could go wrong. How does it go?
yes, no, there is, when you reach certain levels of achievement, there is no room for failure.
Right.
That's something everybody who is somebody in whatever profession need to realize. The place on top is like on top of a summit, on top of it. It's a very limited space. Now you have reached there, and to stay there needs a lot of work.
Wow.
It's not easy. You do anything wrong, you will slip, and you just can't afford to lose what you have gained all your life. So to stay on top is a very limited space, very limited leverage. You can do nothing but succeed. You have to deliver every time. There is no question at all. To be there, that's important. So you need to sharpen your skills. You need to be alert, and you need to leave a lot of room, because there may be people who can do the same job better. And when you know that this person is extraordinarily important, this problem might need some more different approach, you need to be open enough to gather some of these people from other walks of life,
Right.
maybe other specialities, to help you out to deliver. Ego has no room here.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I mean, just this collaborative thing that you talked about, so Doc, I call that collective intelligence. You know, we think we are the most intelligent, but sometimes we need to bring other intelligences in. And I'm so glad you're so humble to do that. You know,
it works to your advantage always. The person whom we are treating will feel that much more secure to be with you, to call you every time, because he knows that if there is anything else that needs to be done, because I am not a surgeon, I can't operate if somebody needs something. We need to have people who are best in the line and to help us out. And I spend better nights, I sleep better when we do this kind of a thing.
Awesome. I always had this one question, Doc. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask this to you. You have two sons who are doctors. I mean, was there a plan, or was this just happened by chance?
No. We know, both me and Hema never insisted on them to take medicine. But it so happens, you just imagine, from the day they open their eyes, they've only seen their father and mother serving the poorest of the poor. They've also seen the joy of the blessings and the great affection and respect shown by these poor people. So these little fellows, as they learn to walk, they automatically would catch the hand of an old person, help him to take those few steps either in or after I examined them, would help hold their finger. And then in return, every one of these poor people would either pat them on the back or pinch their cheeks and tell them shabash, appreciation of that good deed. And this simple act of love and affection, mind you, there is no money involved, there is nothing, they don't do it for wanting something, but this appreciation being given by these poor people has started this great feeling in them that this is the right thing to do in life. And that's how they kept on learning, they kept on doing, kept on helping me and Emma, and ultimately ended up becoming doctors.
Wow. So this is, they learned by example. I mean, like one of the expressions is the best way to teach is by example.
Yes.
And you're a great example. So Doc, I want something beyond just medicine now from you. And I want two different things. One, as a good human being, you come across in my mind, I know how you treated Anita, that's my wife, right from the time she was young, and you're her go-to person every time. Whatever happens, I've got to call Dr. Ramana Rao. I said, yeah, please do, because I know one minute call with you will change things for her. So give us some hacks for being just a good human being first. Just 2 or 3 hacks. What do you think we should do to be good humans?
I would always view everything from the point of being a doctor. You know what? The day you get this qualification of being a doctor, you are in a great advantageous position. And each and every person who comes to us needs your help. And it is their body that is not functioning well or suffering from some illness. I know the answer. I know how to make that work back to normal. I know how to help my patients get back to normal. But I can't do that without the trust and faith from my patients. So it's important to win their trust, win their faith. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. You need to keep trying. And each doctor will have his own way of his approach to the patient. Here, I treat everybody like my own family. You believe it or not. There is no rich, there is no poor, there is no VIP or VVIP or poorest. Today, when I'm sitting in my clinic, on the road, you'll find a pushcart fellow who sells that butta in the corner.
Yes.
And then the Kalekai fellow on the pushcart, he sells groundnut. And he will be pushing next to my window in my clinic. I wish him before he wishes me. And my love for him is the same as the love he has for me. There are no barriers. And he is with so much joy. His day will be spent very well because his doctor wished him. And as the time goes on, every day they pass by at the same time, they wish me before I wish. Of course, this is a competition that goes on. It is to win their heart. That is the whole aim of medical service. We need to win them over. Then only faith comes, then only trust comes. And then you need to treat everybody as an equal human being. There's nobody big, nobody small. Pain for all of us is the same. Suffering is the same. Our approach will heal. Our approach will cure. And their confidence that I will heal them will make the other 50%, to become 100%. And that's exactly what we do. As you go on doing the same thing over and over again, mind you, human being is a human being. You shouldn't, the day you differentiate, do a big man and a poor man, then your medicine will not work. You only have to concentrate on their illness.
Right.
And as a doctor, what's the best we can do? Everything will fall in place. But as you go on doing it thousands of times, lakhs of times, it's very easy. It's not difficult. Every doctor can do this. This is a simple application.
Awesome. So, Doc, I'm going to ask you a very funny question now, and I'm taking your permission for that. There's an expression that goes like this. He says, God does the healing, or the universe does the healing, and the doctor only collects the bill.
Good one.
I just want to
well, it always, I notice, actually the payment, money should never enter into this equation of a doctor-patient relationship. Then only it will thrive. The doctor must know that he needs to do his best. And every patient must know that this doctor's livelihood only whatever he pays us. And if they don't pay us, we ourselves cannot survive, cannot take care of our children. And this is a normal human being's requirement. Everyone works for a living. There's a need and greed, of course, that line one should never cross. It is the need that drives us to work constantly. Need of myself, my family, my children, the people around me. It is that drives us to take money. If you take care of all my needs, not my greed, every little want and desire and need, I will serve 200% free. I have absolutely no issues. And the society must raise up to that, to take care of the doctors in their society, to meet their needs, not greed. And I can tell you, they will do exactly what I'm doing.
Wow, awesome. So, Doc, this is a tangential question for you. After COVID, what I have understood is, boss, doctors can do this much, hospitals can do that much, the government can do that much. But finally, if you have to survive something like a pandemic, like COVID, number one, you should have done yourself a biggest service by staying healthy, being well.
Yes.
Would you like to share something, Doc, if you don't mind?
Yes. The greatest leveler is illness. And now we all have learned that this virus, the COVID-19 novel coronavirus, is the greatest leveler. It has not just leveled people, societies, it has leveled countries, the universe, all over.
Right.
Everybody is suffering from this. It's the same. Again, it comes to the point we are all human, and it's affecting everyone without caste, creed, community levels. And money has lost its significance. Worldly possessions have lost their meaning. You had so much wealth and you can do nothing with it.
Nothing.
You cannot even leave your house. And you have so many suits, so many dresses, such fantastic cars. What can you do? You can't even leave your home. So everything has suddenly lost its importance. We are all at ground zero now. We need to build things. We need to look at things. We need to look at people differently. We need to interact with people very differently to again raise to whatever we were.
Awesome.
So that's where it brings us. But this has shown how much more importance we need to give to such pandemics, to such virus, for instance. Today it is virus, tomorrow it's going to be something else. So it's priority that we need to plan for such things. So we need to be prepared for such things. It cannot be done by an individual. It cannot be done by a society. It has to be done by countries with great leaders, like our great Prime Minister. He has a vision. And there are many people in this world with vision like him who can definitely take you to a different level altogether. So if such a thing happens, we are better prepared. You can never be well prepared, but you are better prepared, which is what I would say now. Gather all the intelligence, gather all the expertise, for not just virus, for many such pandemics or other things. Make sure you have some cushion, some takeoff area where you can handle these things.
Right. But can you give us one or two health tips, Doc, if you don't mind? How do we keep ourselves healthy? Like some people say, you need multivitamins, you need some vitamin C, you need zinc, you need D, vitamin D. I mean, where is
this virus?
No, generally, how do we remain healthy?
Wow, very nice. Positivity is the key factor of staying healthy. So you need to be positive. Please today remove every negative thought about people, about things, about your concept of things. And just do the physical act of doing this and tell yourself 100 times, yeah, I've thrown it in the dustbin. That day you think of bad thought, look at the dustbin there and let it remind you, you already thrown it there. You will never pick up anything back from the dustbin. I won't do that. So once you have thrown it, it is gone. That is to develop an attitude of then joy, happiness. Please be happy, be very happy and do something nice to help people. It will automatically bring a cheer. With that happiness and joy will well from your heart. This brings in beautiful hormones. The human body responds in a beautiful way by producing the good healthy hormones called pheromones. These pheromones make your central nervous system, cardiac system, kidneys, liver, everything to work very perfectly, and immunity raises. When immunity raises, you have less of illnesses or no illness. You certainly need to feed the body. If you feed the right things, like fruits, have 2 different colored fruits every day. Every day, 2 different. They contain antioxidants. These antioxidants will build up immunity and resistance against such infections and diseases which the human body is prone. Last one is exercise, minimum activity. This human body was made for exercise, made for hard work. Most of us don't work. That's why the illnesses, diseases increase after some age. As a child, as a youngster, you would have been very active. But as we get older, the body and metabolism slow, diseases come in. You can arrest it by exercising, doing anything your body will help you. Half an hour walk, simple walk, will make a lot of difference. Yoga will help. Meditation will help. Good company is the next thing that you need to develop. You must have positive thinkers, joyful people, people who can live happily around you. Surround yourself with these people. Automatically, you will not fall ill. Last is your family. Your family is your strongest support system on this earth and in your life. You should not lose the relationship. You need to work to build stronger and stronger family bonds. Do everything you can. It all comes back. You will live happily. You will live with joy, and you will enjoy every day that you wake up.
Wow.
Sorry.
Doc, I should talk to you more. Doc Vijay, you believe it or not, most of what you said just now, I actually put into my programs. We're doing a series of 4 talks on Fridays. Wow. This Friday is the 3rd talk on positivity.
Yes.
Positivity live on Facebook.
You
and
can't be wrong.
Talking about how to build a positive tribe.
Yes.
We talked about community, family. These are things I talk about all the time. But Doc, coming from you, it's like it reinforces everything and it validates whatever I've been saying. So I thank you for that. It's really nice to hear that. So Doc, one more small suggestion, if you don't mind me asking you for this.
Yes.
How can our doctors be better for India? Because we have less number of doctors per patient, I mean, the patient doctor ratio is very, very pathetic in India. What do you suggest? What anything that we could do?
First of all, our focus must be on our day-to-day illnesses. 99% of illnesses, you take any family in surrounding our own, so many families. Most of the illnesses we suffer from are ordinary illness. Could be a throat infection, cold, fever, aches and pains, things like that. Nothing complicated like bypass surgery, cancer, tumors. Those are very, very rare. They are form less than 0.1% of the illnesses that we suffer. You need to have doctors who can take care of all these things. Actually, there are about 11 lakh registered medical practitioners in our country. Can you imagine 11 lakh only per 1.3 billion population? It's too small. We need to have more doctors, qualified doctors. And out of 11 lakhs, 30% are dead, but they still are on our list of medical practitioners. And believe me, if you remove that, you come to about 7 lakhs. Out of this, more than 2 lakhs are outside India, who are left to America, England, you name the countries. And the rest, about another 1 or 2 lakhs, are either retired and or not practicing. Okay. And out of this, another 1 lakh are ladies who are, because of their family commitments, don't practice. So besides illness, old age, death, and leaving the country, we are just left with 4.5 lakh practicing doctors qualified in India to take care of 1.3 billion population. This is a very serious gap. The government is doing everything to increase the number of qualified doctors, but it's going to take some time. So the existing doctors who are practicing must give a lot of importance to common illnesses that are affecting our society, and they are the leaders who should take care of these illnesses. That's how, to some extent, every doctor can become a hero in his community. He shouldn't say, I'm only a skin doctor. He shouldn't say, I'm only this doctor. But every doctor is an MBBS. Basic degree he has. But they just somehow put it into a block in a corner of their mind, and they say, no, I am a cardiologist. I am a nephrologist. I am a neurologist. I can't treat you. Wrong. You are a neurologist. You are imagine they do MBBS first. They are as much qualified as me. Then they do MD, even good. But they go beyond. These super specialists are even beyond. They do even more. But what about the MBBS they did? What about the MD they did? They don't put it to use because they become super specialists. These doctors are even smarter than us. They should be able to help everybody. They can. And they should cater some time to all this. It makes a difference.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, Doc, You know, one of the things that I really appreciate about you also is your humility. I've known you for how many years now? Maybe 36, 37 years from the time I'm married. And I've always seen you so nice, so humble. Always you'll say, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. In fact, I get embarrassed when you call me sir. So you're at that level. Okay, can you give us some tip about this humility? How did you pick up this, or where did you pick it up from? Yeah, I want people to understand humility.
Half of this comes from your upbringing. The best teachers in your life are your own parents,
Right.
your father, your mother, who teach them basic things about respecting elders and respecting people who are there, whom we can learn and absorb. And this basic quality is always instilled in most of the Indians. All our parents are our gurus for life, and they 100% tell us what is the right thing, what is it is these points that you must always remember as you grow up. Every day, if you will keep a photo of your parents on your desk or in your room, do one namaskara to them every day morning. Say nothing, do nothing. Automatically what they taught us will come back to us, and you will automatically be doing that. I made it a point after I became a doctor to learn from everyone who comes to me. Everyone. I think every patient who comes to my clinic is a very good teacher in my life as to how I should behave, how I should do. I have not seen a patient till now who will disrespect me, who will talk in a language that is not right. So why should I be the one to disrespect him or not? I would rather love him, respect him. Hence, every time a patient comes in, I stand up and do the namaskara. And when I do that, I establish a beautiful bond between me and the patient. He knows that this doctor is a good man, is trustworthy. So link by link, we build our skill of communication with these people. Language is not the barrier. Economic level is not the barrier. It is just human being to human being. And anybody will appreciate respect. Anybody will appreciate the love that is coming out of our actions. So your actions will show your true intentions.
Awesome. Doc,
So
one last question before we
very
close.
simple. Yes, sir.
I mean, we have got so many, pearls of wisdom from you today. I'm so grateful. But I want you to answer one last question, if you don't mind. So, if there's one lesson that you learned in life, Doc, because you seem to be just a perfect guy, perfect human being, perfect doctor, perfect citizen. You're so good as a communicator. What is the one thing that you'd like to tell us? One lesson learned by Dr. Ramana Rao, and how did it change your life?
It's a tough question. I've always learned from everyone. If you put yourself in the shoes of the person sitting in front of you, you can always be what you ideally would have wanted to be. It takes a little practice, and in the beginning, you need to make attempts. You may not succeed every time. And what is most important is you need to absorb from all successful people around you. There are so many who are very successful, different walks of life. Each of them has a fantastic quality, a fantastic way of going about their life. You have to stand back and observe it. I must tell you here that soon after my graduation, the first thing I did was my father gave me 5,000 rupees. He told him, you go anywhere you want. I will, whatever you need, I'm there to help. So first thing I did was visit all the metros. I went to Chennai, I went to Delhi, I went to Mumbai, I went to Calcutta, I went to Hyderabad. I met two doctors who were most successful doctors in these cities.
Yes,
I went and sat in their clinic. And when my turn came, I only asked them one question. What is your advice to me? I'm going to start my practice. I'm a doctor. And I learned. First, they thought I'm crazy. They said, you come all the way from Bangalore for this. But still, they spent a lot of time. Even though they were patient, each of them and had so many things to tell me. I cannot forget. These are pearls of wisdom that I gathered from these great men of medicine. Pearls of wisdom I gathered from these great men of medicine that laid the foundation of my service to humanity.
Wow, that's a huge lesson for all of us. Doc, I'm going to thank you for being such a great soul, such a great humanitarian, philanthropist. I mean, I can put so many epithets here that, it sort of, the mind boggles with all the good things that you've done. But I want to say one thing, Doc. You strike me as a person who is not only a great doctor, a great human being, but you're a most humble person. And, I would always give your example to people to say, even after reaching there, he still does his namaste, his namaskaras, and it comes from the heart. I appreciate you most for that. Even after having treated all the superstars, all the chief ministers, and having been with Amitabh Bachchan, and he also appreciated you. I saw him doing namaste to you. I'm thinking, wow, it's a pleasure to have you on this session, Doc. I think we should somewhere put our heads together and see how we can do more for this country. I'd be most happy to do that. So I've learned about humility. I've learned about, just good medical practices. The Hippocratic Oath, I think, you walk that every single day of your life. And for your family to follow you, that itself says what a great soul you are and what a great leader you are. So on that nice note, Doc, thank you for spending this time with me. And thank you.
You've been very kind, Ian. Thank you for all your kind words. But I just want you to know this, that whatever I am, it is what you are making me to be. That's all. It is as simple as that. And thank you again for everything.
Thank you, sir. And may your tribe increase. We need more people like you in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, sir.